What's good, family, and welcome back to Enjoy the Journey. I am your host, Devontae Lamont, and today I have with me the Evan Brown. He is the CEO of the Vision Birthers Agency and the Business Builders Collaborative, and I am excited to have this conversation here with them today. Evan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really honored to be here.
I'm grateful for you to be here. No, seriously. Right when I first met you, like literally, I can always feel genuine people, and I feel that you have just a very genuine heart.
Thank you.
You're a very genuine person.
Thank you.
Thank you just
Thank
for being
you.
here today.
I thank my mom.
Thank you, Mama. He said we're gonna thank my mama. I do it for
My
my
dad
mama.
too. Mixture.
So Evan, tell us what's your name, where you're from, a little about you.
Wow. Okay. My name is actually Evan Brown. Most people know me as Coach Ev.
Coach Ev.
That's like my whole business persona. A lot to unpack there. But I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. This Black Hollywood.
Hey.
And then outside of that, I've been an entrepreneur. I stepped into entrepreneurship maybe 10 to 12 years ago. And I've gone seasons where I've been full-time, out of full-time, contracting back and forth. So I'm just a man trying to figure it out. Whatever that looks like, whatever that is, whatever the lane, I am just somebody committed to figuring it out. So, and having a good time.
And having a good time while doing it. That is important.
A good time.
That is important.
I'm gonna work hard.
And play hard.
Have a good time.
That's what they say, work hard, play hard.
That's what they said. That's what they said.
I love that. So you said you've been in Atlanta your whole life.
No, born and raised here. So I left in '08 to go to college, never came back. Well, thought I was never coming back to Atlanta. Alabama A&M University, the greatest institution known to man on this side of heaven, or the only ones on this side.
Okay.
It's in Huntsville, Alabama. And so then I left from there, moved to Chicago for 4.5 years, then moved back to Atlanta May 4th, 2022.
Wow. So you've been all over the place.
I have.
So I'm from Indianapolis.
Okay, so not too far.
So I know Chicago. So I know you said you was up in Chicago. I know of Huntsville because of A&M.
Yep.
Okay, but that's amazing. So what has it been like for you now after living in different places, now being back in Atlanta? How is that for you?
It's so interesting. I remember growing up here and leaving, fall of '08 saying, I'll never come back here. I think people probably have that feeling about their hometowns, no matter what it is. And it was almost like as I got older and went other places, I now have an appreciation for the Black metropolis that I grew up in that the rest of the country is absolutely not like. You may find countries where there are pockets of, successful Black or different variations of Black and us doing things, but there's no place absolutely under the sun like Atlanta.
There is none.
None. Going other places, I started to realize and meet people who never had a Black mayor. Their dentist or their pediatrician or their primary care physician was never Black. My entire life, everybody that I've known that has been a major player in just life or in the city or in the world, they've always been Black.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful to be back here now as a mature adult with a different vision, a different focus, and most importantly, with different goals.
I think that is so critical that you said that. I'm originally from the Midwest, and I've been in Atlanta for a short period of time. But one thing that I have said, Atlanta is the best place I've ever lived.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing, I never had a desire to actually be in Atlanta. Like I came here by way of another city and state that I was working in. But I feel like God ordered my steps here. And I always said, for the year to 2 years almost that I've been here, that Atlanta was the rebirth that I needed.
Yeah.
And coming here and seeing the Black culture, to see so many Black entrepreneurs, you see Black people who are doing good.
Like really Black excellence.
Yes, Black excellence.
And everybody here is not a scammer.
No, everybody's not a scammer. That was, that's the first thing somebody told me. Here.
People have it. Yeah. And they've had it for a long time. And they look like us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So let's talk about you.
Okay.
So you are doing some amazing things. So right now I want to talk about the Vision Birthers Agency. Can you tell us a little bit about the Vision Birthers Agency and how you came up with that, and what is the need or the use of it here in the city?
Yeah. So Vision Birthers started off as my graphic design business 10, 12 years ago. Well, actually, it started off. I hate to tell this story because it tells my business. So when I first launched my business in 2006, 7, no, 16. That's 16. What it was. 16. Wrong year.
What was you doing in 2006?
High school.
Really? When did you graduate?
2008. I'm only 34.
Really? Wow.
I lie and say I'm 27 all the time, but I'm really only
You're
34.
27. We okay, let's not do that. What's your birthday?
July 15th.
Cancer?
Yeah,
I can tell.
by the definition.
Sorry. All right, keep going.
No, back to so Vision Birthers actually started off as a conference planning business. You probably would guess this, but I grew up in church. So growing up in church, you're used to being in environments typically that have no structure. I won't say they're chaotic, but they're more so just service oriented from the event service, not necessarily education and application. And as somebody that loves to learn, I recognized that there was a huge gap between what we were saying we were doing versus what we're doing. So we're having a conference, but it's only a service. There's no like formal education. And I have my whole gripe about, the African American church is the only place where you can go into a place to learn, but it's not situated for learning.
Ooh.
It's situated like an auditorium, so therefore you are often entertained.
Wow, that's good.
Not conditioned to learn by, it's like when you walk into a classroom, you're going to see desks, you're going to see tables, you're going to see these things, but we don't see that when we walk into our places where we're supposed to learn about God, learn about life, learn about how. So,
that's not true, because I'm having a thought even now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Sunday school.
Uh-huh.
If you go to Sunday school, where's the certification? How do you assess the knowledge that we learned? You know what I mean? Like, and so I think that's a very critical point that you say that, like, that we're not, especially in the church, because I grew up in church.
Okay.
And it really makes you think of conditioning about learning, about comprehending, and application. And so I think sometimes if we're not careful, it does turn into entertainment.
A movie theater.
A movie theater. I'm sitting here to be comfortable, but I'm not here to learn or apply or worship, even for that matter. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show. But I love that. So how, with your business being structured, what season were you in when that came, and then how has it been able to help organizations such as churches?
Yeah, so it started off as that, but shortly after I recognized that I had an individual gift to help people get from here to there. And so I completely started to pivot from the planning of conferences more so to like the kind of help somebody go from idea to execution, whatever that looked like. So my first real client was a planner. This woman sold 450 planners out of her trunk. And I knew then that I had something that could really just help people get to whatever their end goal was. And to me, that's often the hard part in life. People are trying to figure out how to get to my place called there, and there's sometimes no roadmap. There's nobody that's gone before you, or often there is a roadmap, but you don't know where it is. So you need to talk to someone who can help you unlock that thing and find that space.
Nice.
Yeah, you had to stop.
I was like, hey, we got that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stop.
What happened? Was it bad?
Yeah. Not super bad, just not good enough for me.
Okay. Do I need to do all this over? Okay.
Evan, just say, that part.
Okay. Wait, so what?
Just say something like you're closing out the statement.
Okay.
Yeah, so say the whole statement again.
I forgot what I was talking about.
I did too.
Just close it out by, and that is where I got my start.
Okay. And that's where I got my start.
Nice. I love that. So, Lord, see, you have to be Let me go.
I talked about the.
All right, so let's. All right, so all right, what? All right, so cool. So, some of the what are some of the services that Vision Birthers offers to customers, community? What are some of the services that you offer?
Wow, that's a really good question, but that's a hard question to answer because I'm in a transitional season.
All right.
I'm recognizing the power of what I want to do and what I'm good at, but also considering what I no longer want to do.
Woo.
And there comes a point in entrepreneurship, especially those that are service-based, where you recognize that a skill or a thing that you once did well and could do in your sleep no longer matches or aligns with where you are or what your current goals are. So I'll even throw you a curveball. Even though I've done the Vision Birthers portion and helping people start their businesses, I transitioned into a nightlife role or partnership with a lounge. Because I wanted to understand the other side of fast money.
Yes.
People talk about fast money, they automatically think like, illegal stuff, but then they also think like, barbers, beauticians, hairstylists, those things where it's like instant transfers. But that restaurant, nightlife, bar industry is very much so fast money. And I said, before I hit that age gap where I no longer wanted to do it. I wanted to just test the waters. And so I stepped into that wonderful 2-year partnership where I learned a lot of the ins and out behind, and I don't want to say nightlife because it's not a club, because I'm not going to a club, but a lounge where you can kind of do all those things where eat, drink, smoke, whatever you want to do, cigars, whatever it may be. But it's like I learned a lot. And with that being said, so over the last 8 years, my business, I've learned the true scope of business outside of just the one thing that I started off doing.
That is so powerful, because I think a lot of times, and even with Enjoy the Journey, these conversations are about how to appreciate the journey and not just the destination. And so I'll even say this, even for this show with Enjoy the Journey, this was a different vein and a different season for me, because I was so used to being a worship leader. I was used to being an artist. I was used to just teaching and doing theater. Like, that was everything I knew. And one thing that I've learned about purpose, your purpose doesn't change, but sometimes the method changes. And so I am still here to inspire people. I'm still here to uplift people, but it looks different. It looks different. I'm still Devontae Lamont. I'm still, inspiring people to a better life, but now it's through the vein of this show, and it's not on stages. And so that, even for me, was that was a hard transformation or transition, because I was used to doing things one way. I was used to seeing my success in one way, but sometimes it's when we launch out into the deep and we expand what God has already given us, where we do see a fruitful manifestation. I will even say fruitful income from it as well. So I love that you said that. So
may I add something here?
Yes, sir.
It's so interesting. I'm glad you brought that to the forefront, is because in certain cultures, or our culture, freezing people in one dimension is what we are notoriously good for doing. Like, it really is I think a plight, or something that really impacts the Black community, especially those that may have a certain belief system. We are so used to it can only be this way, when it can be so many different ways. I 112% agree with you when you mentioned, at one point in time you were in purpose, but the avenue looks different. I was once an executive pastor.
Really?
Yeah, and in that role, in that space, I found my love for teaching. I thought once I kind of transitioned into a new city, I should go into education to teach. Tried it, realized I may not be as graced for that as I wanted to be. However, I unlocked a skill or a passion and say, you know what, I like helping people unlock something. And education and teaching is a space where things are unlocked. I am now in ed tech.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Not in the classroom, but still making an impact in the realm of education. But it all kind of stemmed from me being okay with the fact that purpose for me is going to be multidimensional. And I'm also a multi-hyphenate person.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, if I'm made in his image and his likeness for real, I should be good at more than one thing.
Yeah.
But people of color have a hard time acknowledging and accepting that I can be good at a couple different things and not have to suffer or lack. Because I'm great at everything I put my hands to. But I don't put my hands to everything.
Yeah.
But them 3 to 4 things I'm gonna do, can't nobody do them better than me.
That is so.
But I'm not gonna say I have to be this one trick pony. Absolutely not. Don't freeze me into that space. Don't limit me because of a limited mindset that other people may have. But unfortunately, this is something that our beloved ancestors unintentionally, just kind of taught us to be a way, and nothing that way has just changed. So kudos to you for realizing that I can still be impactful and purposeful, even though my mic has changed or my setup has changed.
I love that. And here's the thing to even add to that nothing that we go through is wasted.
Absolutely not.
Nothing that we go through is wasted. I remember, I started off my career as a school teacher, as an educator. And, for 10 years, I saw it this one way. And now I've always loved to teach. I've always loved to educate. But now it looks different. I'm still educating people, but now I'm educating people on their mental health. I'm educating people every time I go into a theater and I teach dance or I teach music. And that was one thing. I didn't want to lose the teaching aspect. I didn't want to lose the reaching people as I did in those other industries. And so I think it's important that we know that our journey and our path, I think a lot of times we're waiting just for the destination, but the purpose is the journey. It's everything. You were a pastor, pastoring in one season, you were teaching in one season, all that led you to where you are. So I love that for you. Now, you also help people with businesses
Yes.
as well. So where did your love for helping people with the business aspect things come from?
In my early years, I was able to help, I guess you can say, startups from a individual perspective. But one thing that I recognized in that short amount of time is that because I was servicing predominantly Black people, I recognized that we are not lacking in the area of creativity or desire, and sometimes even skill. We don't have enough information to support it. I say this thing where if you don't understand or learn your industry, your dream will become a drain. And it's like that thing that could have transformed, changed your life financially from a joy perspective, now be the thing that drains you the most simply because you don't know enough about your industry, your lane, your endeavor. And so kind of shifting into that space, I also recognize that, my people are passionate. They're not always willing to sit down and learn. But that means that if I'm going to be the conduit or the bridge or the middleman to get you from here to there, I'm going to learn all I can so that I can at least share with you these things. So at some point you'll say, I've heard this before, and so that's me. I believe that people fail because they don't know enough information.
What's that scripture? We perish because of the lack of knowledge.
There it is. And I think that if we took more time to formally learn, so I'm an advocate for formal education, our industries or our passions or whatever that thing may be, I think we will create more sustainable and scalable business ventures instead of sometimes like, the mom and pop, not necessarily the mom and pop shop, but the mom and pop concept. Where it's kind of like, okay, I'm doing this, but then mom and pop shops lasted 30, 40 years in the community. We have business owners that don't even make it past the first 3 years, not realizing that the first 3 years you're going to be in the black because you're learning, you're figuring this out. You have no idea what the market trends like because this is your first year in the market.
Right.
Things like that. So.
Right. So speaking of formal education, you told us earlier that you went to Alabama A&M.
Yes, I did.
Right. So what did you go to school for?
I got a degree in business management.
Nice.
Ironically enough, in my last, because I stayed 5 years.
Nice.
So I'm a fun person. But that last year was a lot of fun. I dabbled in computer science.
Why five?
Well, honestly, I stayed that 5th year primarily because I got in a co-op with NASA.
Oh, dope.
Right. Like I was actually a payload engineer. I was looking at space every single day, and I thought that was worth me delaying graduation because I had nothing officially lined up, but I knew it was going to be a realm of opportunity that I would never be able to take back. Like, how many black people do you know can say, I worked at NASA?
Nobody.
You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, like shortly after that, Hidden Figures came out, so we saw our pivotal roles and things going up. It's kind of like I was so honored that I was able to talk my way into that co-op program.
Yeah.
And then even though I'm not in aerospace anymore, have no interest in going back to it, that was a proud moment of mine.
Absolutely.
And to me, I said to myself, now at 34, I'm so glad I made the decision to stay because I gained valuable insight into a workforce that I now utilize every single day.
Wow. You are Black history. Can we just
I actually say that all the time.
Let's just celebrate you.
Okay.
You really are. I think that is so amazing because I feel like you, as a Black man on this journey, finding your purpose and using every little thing that you've done to lead you to now. How has everything that you've been through, even in your life and different careers that you've done, how has all of that shaped who you are today?
It's taught me, or it's helped me to unlock the strength that I did not know I had. It's also walked me through how to successfully navigate life, which I think the best way to navigate through life is learning how to manage your down moments. One of the things that I don't think you can control is life, but then at the same time, you actually can't control how you respond to the things that happen in life. So all those things I picked up, all those spaces that I've been in, all those positive and negative experiences have given me really the outlook to just say, hey, you know what, I know how to stand no matter what space I'm in. And that has given me the confidence to go into rooms or into spaces where I may be the underdog, or I may appear to be the unqualified one, or I'm just not welcome into the room because it's a lot of the things that I've experienced. I can always say, well, you know what, I've applied for $1 million contract before and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But I'm not scared to do it again. So when I come into a room knowing it's $1 million on the table, I have no problem like confidently asking for it because I already know what no feels like. So because I've already passed the no, at some point the yes is gonna come.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to experience that excitement.
Come on.
This year.
This year. Baby, listen,
a couple
this
times
year,
this
listen. This is the year for us to live, enjoy our lives. So we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Like, since we live in, because I know you like to have a good time, man.
I do. I really do.
I can tell.
I do.
Listen,
I really do.
So what you doing for fun? Outside, like what's outside look
Okay,
like for you?
so outside to me is different though. Okay, I'm gonna say it's different though, because I had a chance to step into the outside world to learn business. I saw the big business of the outside world is. I like in a place like Atlanta, the economy is fueled by the money that is spent after 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And we're spending it. And it's not just people of color, it's also, other nationalities. People are spending money. So that really opened my eyes to it. And it also kind of opened my eyes to what I do when I'm outside. So for me, I'm not sure if I can say this or not here, if not, cut it out. A margarita a day.
Period.
Will keep your life peaceful. Will keep you on fire for your goals.
Come on
Sometimes
now.
you just
Sugar or
need
salt rim?
nothing.
Nothing?
Sometimes you just need a drink.
Why nothing?
I don't like it.
Okay,
give me
that's his preference.
Honestly, give me my margarita frozen. Don't laugh at me.
What you mean?
Don't laugh.
I love a good frozen margarita.
A little tequila, honestly, it solves everything.
Yes, it solves it all. Okay, solves it all.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's what outside looks like to me. But also, of course, outside includes different things like concerts, those things that really connect to like other parts of my life. Like I played the drums at a church for 10 years.
What haven't you done?
I thank God that I had parents that just said, go for it.
I love
I woke
that.
up and said, I'm trying this today. They were just kind of like, okay. We're gonna, so that really kind of, but also to me, moving like that early creates somebody who's not afraid of a risk.
Yeah.
Because you recognize that if I don't take this risk, I'll never get what I want on the other side of it. No matter what that metric system what that metric or the outcome may be, I'm not afraid of taking risk. But if you like think about like our friendship circles, our families, so many of the people that we do life with are literally afraid of like risk. Yeah, I mean small risk.
Yeah.
And I have my own philosophy on risk. I believe you don't take risk, you take calculated risk. I'm going to think about what I do before I do it.
Absolutely.
Even when you don't think I thought about it, I thought about it. So to me, it's calculated.
Yeah.
It's going to come like either one way or two way or possibly this is the third.
Yeah.
But I'm going to focus on one and two.
But how do we move people out of this state of fear? Because I think that is one people that stops people from taking risk. Is fear. Sometimes it's the fear of failure. It could be the fear of success. Even.
Yeah. The fear of change.
Yeah, fear
because
of
you don't hit the next level without having to change probably quite a few things in your life. So add that.
Yeah.
I think one of the ways that we could possibly combat fear for those who are still wrestling with it in regards to kind of like taking risk, we need to show off our results a little bit more. I have a friend, her name is Chastity. She randomly will remind me, and I hope this is not inappropriate to say, but she would randomly text me, Evan, don't forget to pop your shit today. Because when you pop your shit, people then realize, okay, you know what? That black man is trying. I see him showing up for himself every day, no matter what that looks like. Let me be inspired and kind of do whatever my small thing is to get to whatever my point may be. So I think that there needs to be a level of healthy flaunting. Saying, I made it, but man, I worked like hell to get here.
Absolutely.
Not just saying, here I am, I made it. Say the part, I gave up a lot. I'm right now in the master's program, and I wanted to complete my master's. I started 3 times. I stopped. I started beginning of last year. I said, I'm going to complete this thing this time. I'm going to start over and complete it for me. And one of the things that I'm so excited about doing it is because I realized, like, you know what, I wanted to do this.
Wow.
And I can't wait to tell somebody, yeah, I stopped and started 3 times.
That's amazing. But people need to hear that because I think we live such in a time of where people respect authenticity and where it's like, bruh, like, no.
But people also love a winner.
And they love a winner, absolutely. Yeah. But what I was saying to that was, I think it is important for people to see, like, because someone may be discouraged. Well, I done dropped out 2 times, but to see that you have went back 3 times and you're now being successful and you're winning, that's inspiring to
2
people.
semesters left. Can I see the thing that I realized this time when I started that I didn't know the last couple times? I had to sacrifice. And that's the thing people are really scared of. They're scared of making sacrifices. I recognize if I'm going to complete this program this time, I've got to sacrifice. You know what my sacrifice was? My social life. I had to give up my Friday, my Saturday, my Sunday, or sometimes my Taco Tuesday, or sometimes my Wind Down Wednesday. Like it is a huge thing. But I recognize that in order to obtain my goal for whatever it may have been, I had to sacrifice my social life. And I truly believe that most people in this demographic, in this day and age, are not willing to sacrifice their social life. They'll sacrifice their money, they'll sacrifice their time, they'll sacrifice their sleep. But when you say, oh, that social life, I'm not giving up my social life. And
Yeah.
that's the barrier between, I think, millennials and maybe next level goals for those who may not have achieved them or may not kind of be in their own journey. It's like sacrificing your social life. You got to give that up.
Absolutely.
You got to give that up.
Listen, sacrifice is so important. Even like you said, sacrificing your social life, because I think a lot of times we get just so comfortable with the way we do things, the way we move, where we go, especially if you frequent a place. And that was something that I had to realize as well. Like, all right, it's gonna require some different. I may have to miss some birthday parties.
Yeah.
I may have to miss some events. But ultimately, I'm at the point, Coach Ev, that if it's not something that has to deal with my purpose, I don't want to be involved in it no way.
Okay, that's strong though.
I'm really getting to that point because I feel like a lot of times we waste time in things, places, individuals, social circles that have nothing to do with our purpose. And if I'm moving around things that have nothing to do with my purpose, I'm ultimately wasting my own time. And so I think that with that sacrifice that we need to find those things and find those people and circles that are purpose pushers as well. So what are some things that you could inspire a business owner, someone that may be starting a brand? If you had to encourage them, could you let them know what is something that they need to know to stay encouraged in the process?
Is this the moment I look at the camera?
Oh yes, that moment.
You watching this. I'm going to give you probably the most dynamic advice you'll ever receive. If you don't go after it now, somebody else is going to get your stuff. That's it. Sometimes it's just like you need that reinforcement that if I don't do it now, because I do things, I know season doors, all that kind of stuff is a real life, but I also have enough intellect to know that everything does not come around again.
Yeah.
And sometimes you miss your window of opportunity.
Don't miss the moment.
And so I believe wholeheartedly, especially if you're one of those people that's kind of teeter-tottering between starting, stopping, and because you're watching this, if you don't do it now, somebody else is going to be standing in what was supposed to be yours. And because I have conditioned myself to flat out just to believe that nonstop, I don't think too long about stuff. I just try it.
Yeah.
I just go.
Yeah.
Even with the therapy, the lounge is called therapy. I had a conversation with a total stranger. Just went after it because I realized that if I didn't, I was gonna miss something.
Wow.
And I learned a lot in that season, but I also earned a lot in that season.
Period.
And so, but all because I just went for it. So I tell people all the time, like, you have to get out of fear. Just go after it. Just try it. You'll figure it out as you go. Because I'm scared all the time. Yeah. I am scared all the time.
What you do is scared.
I do it scared. Sometimes with tears in my eyes. Sometimes nervous. Yeah. Sometimes not knowing. I'll figure it out. I'll apply and I'll figure it out later.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Coach Ev, I want to say thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
This has been a phenomenal opportunity.
Oh, thank you.
Listen, fam, this is your season to go after whatever it is that you feel called to do. This is your season. Don't miss your moment because you're this close to your breakthrough, all right? Love y'all. Have a good one.